And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Stern, coming to you live from Charlotte, North Carolina. It is the 18th of May of 2015. It's about a little over 5 o'clock, which means it's happy hour on the East Coast. So I'm sure the people downstairs at the bar and the hotel where I'm at are definitely starting to enjoy themselves because Mondays, well, they're Mondays. So a lot to talk about in the world of sports. Game 7 yesterday between the Houston Rockets and the LA Clippers. Wow, what a game that was. Of course, Houston advancing on to the Western Conference Final for the first time in 18 years, since 1997. They're going to play the Golden State Warriors. And then, of course, we do have the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Atlanta Hawks in the other conference final. It's going to be interesting because this is going to be the first time, or at least out of these four teams, it's going to be the first time in the century that any of these franchises have won an NBA title. For Cleveland, they've never won one. For Houston, back in 95. For Golden State, back in 75. And Atlanta Hawks, back in 1958. So, it really has been a while for all these franchises. So, it's going to be really good. Ideally, the matchup that everyone would probably watch in terms of marketing appeal would probably be Golden State and Cleveland. I think that would be ideal for the NBA because, let's be honest, I mean, it's LeBron James, Steph Curry, two of the most exciting players in the NBA. Then you have James Harden, the Rockets. We already know how they are offensively. And then Atlanta. They're pretty much a Detroit Pistons type team, as I mentioned earlier, where they don't really have a superstar player, but they have a lot of really, really good players, and together they make this really good team. On top of that, talk about a little bit about Deflategate. I mean, it's not really my cup of tea at this point. I think, for the most part, it really has tired itself out at this point. For Tom Brady, of course, he's suspended 4 games. And then, of course, my final topics are going to be 2 things. Number one, one of my favorite, actually, sports podcasts of all time, announced this week that they're going to be ending their show. And I'm going to tell you why it's... when I heard the news, I was kind of sad. And number 2, an intern Jake, if you're listening right now, you are not allowed to listen to this last segment. Honestly, you can, but I don't think you're allowed to. My second final topic would be an experience. Again, for those of you who probably have known me since college, I occasionally like to go out and have fun a little bit. It's been well documented, of course. So, of course, now that I'm going to a couple weddings next couple months, I'm actually staying away from drinking for a while. Trying to get in good shape, just look good in the photos. That's pretty much when it comes down to it. I really kind of want to look good. So I'm cutting out the drinking, cutting out a lot of fast food. So a couple weekends ago, I did go to a club and didn't drink at all. I'll tell you how that experience was because that was probably the first time in my life that I've done that. So I'll tell you how that experience was. But first off, we're going to talk about the NBA. Now, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the conference semifinals, Game 7, Rockets Clippers. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, so I mean, realistically, I haven't really covered any of these series. But when the Rockets were going to play the Clippers, was going to be my favorite of the 2 matchups between them and the Spurs, from my opinion, just because the Spurs are a championship team. They're the defending champions, but then they got knocked out Game 7 by the Clippers. So, my first reaction is, you know what? This is going to be really hard, but I think we have a favorable matchup. And then, you think that for the Rockets cleaning up after 5 games with the Mavericks, you think they'd have a couple days off and they'd be great, win the first 2 games at home, where it wasn't like that at all. It was Clippers just destroying the Rockets Game 1. Game 2, same thing. Game 3, Rockets won. And then Game 4, Clippers won. So now the Rockets are down in a 3-1 series hole. At that point, I mean, realistically, even before then, I think after Game 2, I thought the series was over. I really did. And again, those of you who know me pretty well, I'm a Rockets fan. So I looked at it realistically. Look, we don't have a chance. I mean, we haven't played with the fire under our butts at all in this series. And Game 5, look, it's in Houston. They're not going to. Looks like the Clippers actually took really the night off in that sense. And honestly, look, James Harden, great player. Dwight Howard has been injured most of the season. You'd think that it would be okay, but an okay team. But honestly, the Clippers, the best, probably they have really good talent. I mean, you have Chris Paul, point guard. You have Blake Griffin as one of the best big men, and then DeAndre Jordan, who is as athletic as a center as you've seen in the league, and they have really good role players. So Game 6, I was watching it at home, and then it was a close game at half, but then the Clippers blow it wide open in the third quarter. And you think, okay, well, it was a nice run. At least the Rockets advanced further this season than last season. They lost to the Blazers last playoffs, but then this season they're second round. Okay, I'll accept that. And then you start to watch the fourth quarter. James Harden sitting on the bench again. Everybody checked out. And for some reason, the Clippers start to take their foot off the gas. I mean, 19 points. You think, okay, this is probably not going to get back in it. And their role players are pretty good. I mean, look, J.J. Redick's good. Jamal Crawford can shoot. Glenn Davis has been okay. Turkoglu's played some minutes. Realistically, this is just cleanup duty. But then Corey Brewer, Trevor Ariza, and Josh Smith, 3 role players who, again, have had success elsewhere, are playing significant minutes in the fourth quarter and are bringing the team back. And you're saying to yourself, "This no way. This is not going to happen." And the Rockets come out and pull the win. Game 6. And you think, oh no. If you're a Clippers fan, the first thing you're thinking is, oh no. You're up 3-1. Before Sunday, only 8 times ever has a team come back from a 3-1 series deficit to go on and win the series. And the NBA has been around for a while. 3-1. It means you had 3 chances to win the 4th game. And for the Clippers, again, this is a team, LA. When you think of LA, you think Lakers. But the Lakers haven't been the Lakers since their last championship. They just haven't been. They've been a laughstock of a franchise. I mean, Jim Buss running the organization has been awful. Absolutely awful. And yet, this was the opportunity for the Clippers to make their mark. They've never been to a conference final ever in their franchise history. And for the Clippers, this was their one opportunity. And when you have a Game 7 on the road against a team who's won the last 2 games, carrying all the momentum, it was over. It was over from the tip. Granted, it was a back and forth game in the first quarter, and it was still pretty close in the halftime. After that, it wasn't even close. Rockets held the lead the entire game, Game 7. So, did the Rockets blow it? Or did the Rockets steal it? Or did the Clippers blow it? I mean, there's both arguments can be made for both. Obviously, from the LA standpoint, the Clippers blew it. You had 3 chances to close out a team that, let's be honest, they're pretty one-dimensional. They are. They're a team that James Harden dribble, and then they drift out and shoot. Granted, Dwight Howard adds a different dynamic when he's on the floor. But I'll talk about the next series in a minute. I mean, this is a team that can be beaten, and the Clippers were the team that to do it. At the end of the day, the Clippers just did not make the shots needed to close out the Rockets. And on the other hand, for the Rockets, I mean, look, they could have mailed it in Game 6. I mean, when you're down 19, what I predicted was going to be the same as Game 1 and Game 2. When they're up by that many, when the Clippers are up by double digits, you think, okay, this is over, let's go home, so let's go to a nice offseason and think about next season. But they didn't. The Rockets seized the opportunity. Yes, an opportunity was given, but you also have to take it. And the Rockets did. So you have to give credit where credit is due to the Rockets for taking the opportunity that the Clippers gave. And now they're in the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 1997. That's pretty exciting for Houston. I mean, and just for Houston in general, I mean, the Astros are really good. They have the best record in the American League. The Houston Dynamo, the soccer team's pretty good. I mean, it's sports town. It's pretty good right now. If you're living in Houston, awesome. They've had a great couple months lately. And on the other hand, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, look, they're probably the favorite, I would say, because why? You have the best player in the NBA. You have LeBron James. And a lot of people are saying that this Cleveland Cavaliers team, is similar to the one in 2007 that got to the finals. And I kind of disagree. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, J.R. Smith, Shumpert, Varejao, Mozgov, Thompson. I mean, yeah, they're all. I mean, you look at the 2007 roster from the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have Boobie Gibson. You had Daniel Marshall towards the end of his career. I believe James Jones that was on the roster. You had a lot of older players at that time. I mean, they were okay, but LeBron carried that team to the finals that year. There was no way without LeBron that they were going to be in the playoffs, for that matter. But LeBron carried them to the finals. The difference between the 2017 and this team is Kyrie Irving. Look, Kyrie Irving is, for me, the second best player out of all those teams behind LeBron. No question. I mean, what Kyrie Irving gives them is just a different dynamic than any player in the 2017 did. And just to give an update on Kyrie Irving right now, I mean, he's been battling injuries in the playoffs, and he's sat out. Looks like he says he wants to be close to 100% as can be before Wednesday. So because that first game is on Wednesday, the 20th. So with that being said, I mean, if Kyrie Irving doesn't play Game 1, is it going to be huge? Possibly. I mean, look, this Atlanta Hawks team is a team that has struggled against two teams that, in my opinion, they probably should have won in 4 or 5 games max. I mean, they should have